Hello, Awards Watch listeners and readers. This is Executive Editor Ryan McQuaid, and I have the honor of sitting down with Oscar nominee for Best Supporting Actress, Miss Ariana DeBose. Over the course of my conversation with the Oscar nominee, I talk about her favorite musicals, her work in West Side Story, her collaborations with Steven Spielberg and her castmates, and what she is looking forward to with the next step in her career. It was an absolute honor to speak with her, and here is my conversation with Ariana DeBose. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I really
Of
appreciate this.
course. Yeah, my pleasure.
So I'm going to give you an easy one up top and just ask you, because you've been in musicals for so long, and I'm just a big fan of musicals and a big fan of your work. What was the first musical, either on screen or on stage, that inspired you as an artist?
Ooh. Really started with movie musicals for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on what you consider a movie musical. I grew up with, Disney animated films. Those are musicals.
Yeah.
Love me some Mary Poppins.
Oh.
And then I think Moulin Rouge, Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge really triggered something in me. And that's when I started seeking out old Hollywood films, old Hollywood musicals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I discovered The Bandwagon and Silk Stockings, and Singing in the Rain and The King and I. And so I guess you could say Moulin Rouge was really something that triggered me in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I saw Rob Marshall's Chicago, like I was done for.
I was too. That was my first
Oh,
musical in a theater, and I remember I was way too young to see it, but I saw it anyway, and it was
same.
fantastic.
It was my first movie musical in a theater as well, because Moulin Rouge I watched at home
Yeah.
with my mom.
So getting to this project, what did the musical West Side Story mean to you before making the film? And then what has it meant to you now after the year of delay, all the press, all the awards, all the accolades? What does it mean to you now as a musical since you've done filming it?
Well, I mean, I remember watching West Side Story, oh,
I remember watching West Side Story when I was in my grandmother's, living room as a kid. And I didn't understand what was going on, but I knew I liked the dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was enamored with the woman in the purple dress. Later on, I came to understand what was really happening, and that the lady in the purple dress was Rita Moreno, and I just thought she was spectacular. I found her very inspiring. But I would be lying if I said that from there, West Side Story became the pinnacle of musical theater done to me. In truth, it's not. I believe it to be a wonderful musical. Mm-hmm. And what Jerry Robbins and Peter Gennaro were able to do with the choreography, it defined the possibility of choreography as a storytelling tool for a generation. So that's important and wonderful. After the fact, after making this movie, after everything that has happened as a result of the opportunity to make the film, I can say West Side Story has taught me many lessons. It's brought me closer to my heritage. It was an experience that also, on a personal note, allowed me to fully embody parts of myself that I had never really been able to explore. And I remember at our wrap dinner party, I said to everyone, I thanked them for giving me the opportunity to feel more myself than I had ever felt in my life. And I feel that way now. I feel like I can stand on my own 2 feet in my own humanity. and I think West Side Story was a conduit for that.
Yeah, no, it's your work in it's fantastic, and I saw it in an IMAX, and just
Wow.
I was in by myself in the press screening, and I was just blown away. I was in tears. It was beautiful. And so, I wanted to ask you, your performance is, I mean, obviously you talked about Rita, and the fact that, you have the original, you have this performance, you have people that have done it on the stage, all these varied performance. For you specifically, when you were given the chance by Steven to play Anita, what was the one key factor that you were going into? Maybe it's before, maybe you're shooting it, that you had consciously that you wanted to separate from all those other variations of Anita that we've seen before?
Well, I knew from the get-go she needed to be unapologetically Black. She needed to be unapologetically Afro-Latina.
Mhm.
And some of that comes with having it infused in the script, but also with a character portrayal, being willing to bring it up, being willing to in the context of a scene, call out, this wouldn't really happen this way, because they would have the microaggression of, you're not part of this family right now.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I'm not. You want to talk about that? You don't? All right, let's move on. It's like an aggressive way of being not aggressive, but
Yeah,
so
no.
aggressive.
Yeah.
And also just, allowing the prejudice to hit you. I mean, not for nothing, this film takes place in 1957, and prejudice is blatant everywhere. But for this Anita, she walks down the street, a Black woman. She's living in San Juan Hill. So if people don't know, she's Puerto Rican, but she's a Black Puerto Rican.
Mhm.
And it's not a portrayal you see every day. The reality is, wow, English. The reality is San Juan Hill was filled with Black Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and beautiful people of color of all varying shades. But it's not what you see all the time. So it was really important to me that was reflected. And if I was going to do it, it was paramount.
Yeah. And I think that all goes back to the collaboration process with you and Steven and everyone.
Well, they had to be willing to hear it,
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm a young woman who has a lot to say. But I wanted the opportunity to be heard. They gave me that, invited me to the table to collaborate, and it was never. What was so cool is I walked in thinking Steven Spielberg was going to say, "You're here, and now it's my way or the highway." And instead, he said, "What do you think? Are you comfortable? Does this feel authentic? What does authenticity mean to you? What does that look like in your mind as an artist?"
Yeah. No, because
That's rare.
it goes back into, if you're going to have a film with Latinx actors and it being a Latinx story,
Yeah.
you have to hear those perspectives, right?
Yeah.
And everything. And so, no, that's what's great about it. But in the film,
Mhm.
obviously the big centerpiece for the film in the original and for this is, of course, the America sequence. I thought of the mambo in the gym as the background behind me, because that was when my mouth was on the floor. And I just thought that besides your singing, which we've all know you're singing and everything, but it was and you're dancing from Hamilton and everything, but the way you were doing the choreography in this film, it had a fierceness to it. So do you mind talking about those two sequences and what you brought to them to make them pop out on the screen when we're watching it?
I don't know if I actually know what makes them pop on the screen. But I can tell you that my approach to dance and choreography is it's all about the dancer's relationship to the music.
Mhm.
I'm very clear. The music is not dancing me. I am dancing it. And it sounds like a simple distinction, but sometimes it's not. It can be a fine line. But in the ladies' dance in the Americas sequence, there's that And you see Anita do this windmill thing, step, or at least that's what I call it, the very technical term of windmill thing. And that's a prime moment where you really see Anita and the music are one and the same. They're telling the same story. That was what I wanted. If she was going to move, there was a reason for it. She's dancing every single note because every note of the music is an expression of an emotion going through her body, through her lived experience. And also, Justin Peck created an entirely new choreographic world. You know, he plays beautiful homage to the original work, but he's doing his own thing. That does not necessarily mean that every step is fully influenced by Latin dance. Some of it is, but some of it is just beautifully Justin Peck, which also meant there was space for Ariana. So sometimes you got to put some stank on it. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure, for sure. I think the bedrock of this movie is the relationship between Anita, Bernardo, and Maria.
Yeah.
So for you, what was it like creating that bond between Rachel and David and yourself on and off screen?
In both areas, on and off screen, it was just instantaneous. I remember the moment I met David, there was just something about him. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to know you. He was just a soul that I recognized. And I think he did the same thing about me. We have said it about each other to each other, so I don't feel bad saying that. Rachel, again, just there was just something about her that I saw and recognized and loved immediately. She literally is like my little sister. We drive each other crazy, but there's a fierce love there and respect. We all genuinely respect each other and treated each other like a family, you know. And to this day, we fiercely protect each other to the best of our abilities. And you cannot teach anybody that type of chemistry. It's just there amongst humans and amongst professionals, or it's not. So to some degree, you're like, well, great. How much acting do I have to do here in regards to that? Is there something that just lives, or do I have to fake it? And we didn't have to fake it, which is a blessing.
No. Yeah, no, and it was fantastic to see on screen. I got a couple more questions for you. But the casting, the script, the decisions for no subtitles used in conversations. For me, as I was watching it, as a Latino, I was watching it and I was sitting there, I was going, this is everything I want to see in a film. And so what does it mean for you when you saw the film, the final film and everything? What does it do for you in those feelings? How do you feel emotionally? Maybe your family too, you have conversations after when they see it where you're just like, they listened, they understood, and they got it.
Well, you know what's so interesting for me? My family, the ones I'm closest to, are not Spanish speaking. So from my perspective, it was really interesting for them to say, I knew what was going on, but I didn't understand the language. And I thought I was going to be mad that there were no subtitles. And then they took a deep breath and they still received it anyway. And they could repeat back to me what was going on in the scene. And I was like, then I rest my case.
Right.
For my fellow Latinos who are Spanish speaking, the reception that I have gotten in regards to the choice to not include subtitles, which by the way was not my choice, but I do agree with it, because it's real, it's reality. We go, you know, especially Latinos today, if you speak Spanish in your home, you go back and forth between English and Spanish, and it just is what it is. And if people who come into your home don't speak Spanish, you think they're figuring it out.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, I think it was a beautiful, respectful thing to do, to not other our language, because there's no official language of the United States of America. And there's more than 50% of people who are Spanish speaking in this country. So I think it was a great idea. Um, and I personally applaud it. And it will be it's one of the bravest things I think our film does.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, this work of yours, Oscar nominated, totally deserved.
Thank
You
you.
know, your first half of Latina nominated in this category. You're also openly, you know, you're openly part of the LGBTQ community. And I just want to know personally and professionally to you, what does it mean by the industry to honor your work, but also honor you personally as a person within these two? And what does it mean maybe for diversity or for chances for others down the road to get roles or to be nominated for an Oscar or something like that down the road?
I think it's a beautiful, beautiful moment and indicative of change, right? I mean, there was a time where you couldn't honor, or you did not honor, and by you I mean the industry, um, the work and the person. There was a separation of church and state in a way. And so I think it is indicative that you can be 100% yourself. You can live an authentic life, whatever that means to you. For me, it means I can be out and proud and Afro-Lat and mixed race and love all these nuances about myself and be excellent at my job, be excellent at my craft, and not have to be disassociated with either. They can live in the same space. And I think that's an exciting thing for especially young people coming up, young artists, because at the end of the day, your art, your humanity is your art.
Mhm.
So it's hard to separate the two. And I think especially for young people of color and many young people who identify on the LGBTQAI plus spectrum, that it shows them that they are possible. They are infinitely possible. Their dreams have validity, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Last question here, and then I will let you go with on your day and everything. Is moving forward for you, you're going to have so many great opportunities to do so many amazing roles, because you're amazing in this and you're amazing in everything. What is the most important factor for Ariana DeBose when picking future projects now?
That's such a good question. I think I'm still actively trying to figure that out. I prior to West Side Story, I would say that I was looking for job opportunities, projects that were tangible to me. Musicals were tangible,
Mhm.
right? Because it's what everyone knew that I could do. And they gave me time and space to do that. They would take me seriously as an actor if it was a musical vehicle. Now I'm in a moment. Well, and I think it's worth saying that, The Prom and Schmigadoon, they were made after West Side Story,
Mhm.
but again, musical vehicles,
Mhm.
varying subject matter, but I was able to be taken seriously as a viable lead in
Mhm.
various degrees within the musical vehicle. Now I'm sitting in a moment where I've been so lucky to receive a few different offers that are not contingent on the piece being a musical, and it's so nice. I don't quite know what to do with myself. I'm just looking for roles that will challenge me. These roles are not specifically LGBTQAI plus oriented. Some of them have an identity component to them because I enjoy explorations in identity. But ultimately, I'm looking for dynamic stories and also opportunities to have fun. I don't always want to have to cry my face off. Granted, if it's of service to a character that is just so that it's just called to my spirit that strongly, then I will absolutely do it. I want to work with nice people. I really have no interest in working with assholes. I just don't. And it's nice at this moment in time to have choice and to be able to say, you know what, I don't have to work in a hostile work environment. I don't have to take this particular thing. It's the first time that's ever happened in my career. I'm enjoying it while it lasts. But I'm just looking to tell great stories and also to keep the conversation going. Yeah, I'm the first Afro-Latina to be nominated in this category for an Academy Award. I'm the first openly queer woman of color to be nominated for an Academy Award. And I think those conversations are right and good. And I feel like if I can continue to work and also continue to hold doors open for anybody who wants to be here that identifies in that way, then it's forward motion and we get more accurate portrayals of diversity in our industry. And then maybe we can really talk about what it means to be diverse and authentic, because we've only scratched the surface of that conversation.
No, for sure. Well, I'm just a big fan of yours, and I loved your performance in this, and it was an absolute thrill to talk with you. And good luck in March, and good luck this weekend at the SAG Awards, and we're all rooting for you. So
thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Ryan.